I have to conclude because the Sandman is taking me off the stage. In conclusion, because this is really part of a much larger context, that's the much larger historiographical essay. The new scholarship on Black power demands that historians of post-war America take these strains of Black activism seriously. In fact, they recognize Black power as an undeniable touchstone for the era's social, political, cultural, and economic transformations and upheavals. Over 2 decades ago, Robert Korstad and Nelson Lichtenstein challenged scholars to rethink the largely artificial boundaries that separated the freedom surges of the Great Depression and Second World War era from the more widely appreciated heroic period, what I call the heroic period of the Civil Rights Movement. Since then, works published at the intersection of urban, social, cultural, and political history have filled in the historical gaps that they suggestively outlined. Black power took on concrete and tangible meaning at the level of urban politics, community organizing, and cultural and intellectual movements to transform existing institutions in American society and at times form new ones. In broad terms, Black power activists set out to create and implement bold new agendas for American domestic and foreign policy. Trying to cut this down here. The best of the new Black power scholarship is already forcing scholars to reassess conventional wisdom by focusing on the impact of community organizing, examining the participation of low-income Black women, expanding the movement's geographical contours to the South and Midwest, and assessing its Southern character, exploring the roles of and coalitions with white radicals, exposing the relationship between militants and civil rights activists, and emphasizing the multiple ways in which Black power was as much about politics as culture. Buoyed by Black power's urgent rhetoric of self-determination and search for political power, Black activists sought control over the community action side of the Great Society's war on poverty. At the level of urban policy, this meant that Black militants aggressively pursued local control over federal anti-poverty efforts through the creation of ad hoc groups, while organizations such as SNCC and CORE promoted Black power as a community organizing effort designed to alleviate urban poverty in some of America's worst urban neighborhoods. While sharing a historical legacy with civil rights, the Black power movement challenged prevailing narratives of the era, and in doing so, fundamentally transformed American democracy. Scholars have yet to fully grapple with this as a historical reality. Indeed, Black power activists found themselves searching for a, quote, political alternative to the racial liberalism that had prevailed through most of the post-war years, close quote. Such a description seems at odds with the general understanding of the movement, which continues to be identified with the politics of racial separatism, cultural pride, and identity politics. But these were never the only or the ultimate goals of Black power. Black power did scandalize America in the 1960s, but its apparent novelty masked a deeper history. Beyond the era's verbal pyrotechnics, racial controversies, and stylistic bombast is a watershed history of social and political transformation. Black power grew out of multiple streams of social, political, and economic struggle. Local, national, and international political events, at times independently, oftentimes intersecting, fueled a broad and eclectic array of social, cultural, and political movements. Ordinary Black women and men, trade unionists, Black nationalists, preachers, cultural workers, students, teachers, prisoners, and politicians exported Black power's radical ethos from American soil out to the world's farthest reaches. For an entire generation then, Black power's community and social activism shaped African Americans' political consciousness, racial solidarity, and domestic and foreign policy imagination. Ultimately, this new scholarship invites a reassessment of the way in which Black power, no less than civil rights, sought to reshape long-standing notions of citizenship, identity, and democracy. Completing this task may transform scholarly understanding of this period and dramatically reimagine cliches about the 1960s race and democracy that continue to inform historical understanding, teaching, writing, and conceptualization of this era. Coming to terms with the Black Power movement's contradictions, shortcomings, and achievements marks a vital and necessary effort in reimagining and rewriting post-war American history. Thank you.